Anybody else is already through, bell ring, you can hear me better for a while. Mark chapter 1. Mark chapter 1. You get there, you'll join me in standing. Start reading verse 29. And forthwith, when they were come out of the synagogue, they entered into the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. But Simon's wife, mother, lay sick of a fever, and anon they tell him of her. He came and took her by the hand and lifted up her, and immediately the fever left, and she ministered unto them. And at even when the sun did set, they brought unto him all that were diseased, and that to them that were possessed with devils, and all the city was gathered together at the door. And he healed many that were sick of divers diseases, and cast out many devils, and suffered not the devils to speak, because they knew him. And in the morning, rising up a great while before the day, he went out and departed into a solitary place, and there prayed. And Simon and they that were with him followed after him, and when they had found him, they said unto him, All men seek for thee. And he said unto them, Let us go into the next towns, that I may preach there also. For therefore came I forth. He preached in their synagogues throughout all Galilee, and cast out devils. Follow with us today for many blessings. Have your way tonight. Open our hearts and our minds to your word. Lord, help us that we might be attentive to what you have to say. Touch us, Father. Your glory, honor, we pray in Jesus' precious and holy name. Amen. I was noting as I was preparing this that the message that we did last Sunday is still the same day, okay? That Sunday night he was in the synagogue, he preached, he cast out an unclean spirit out of the guy, and showed his authority not only in the word but also the demon. The demon called him, Jesus of Nazareth, thou art come to destroy us. I know thee who thou art, the Holy One of God. And of course Jesus told him to hold thy peace and come out of him. We're the same day. That's important to note. It helps clarify a thought coming up later on in the middle of this section. But we're in the same day. And the Bible says in verse 29, and forthwith, that when they were come out of the synagogue, they entered into the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. I noted also, it's not Simon's house. It's not Andrew's house. It's the house of Simon and Andrew. It could be that it's their parents' house. But nonetheless, it is the house where Simon and Andrew both live. It is also noteworthy at this point to mention that Simon is married, that he has a wife. And by virtue of having a wife, he also has a mother-in-law. Not sure I said that right. But anyway, having a wife, he has a mother-in-law as well. And she is sick, it says in verse 30, and Simon's wife's mother lay sick of a fever, and anon they tell him of her. Now, I want you to note something. We think in terms of somebody's sick, well, do they have a fever? We all time ask that question. Sometimes we ask that question to know if they're contagious. It might be that they have a fever, that the germs are more apt to be able to germinate in someone else, and we don't, but the terms that are here, having a fever, I was looking them up, and I thought, wait a minute, the Greek is very picture-oriented. I wonder what picture it's painting. That have a fever, the Greek word means to be on fire. Okay, she didn't feel well. Just plain and simple. She did not feel well. She was burning up the fever. I checked right now, put my hand against my forehead. My hand's probably a little cold, probably written, but I feel like I got a tad bit of a fever. My hand's probably cold. You know how my hand gets. Well, she didn't have this little fever. She was burning up. There is no doubt beads of sweat rolling off her from the fever. And at the same time, because of the nature of fever, she's probably chilling as well. She's not feeling well. And they tell him of her at once. In verse 31, and he came and took her by the hand and lifted her up, and immediately the fever left her. Now, I want you to understand something. That word translated, that means on fire, to be on fire, is translated sick of a fever. The next verse there, verse 31, the word that is translated from is just translated the fever. And the word means to be inflamed. Okay, I say that because I would suggest there's probably some redness of skin, and that there is probably an infection somewhere. There's a lot more, in other words, in here that when we look at this than what we look at surface-wise. But as soon as he lifted her up by the hand, he went into her, he reached out, he lifted her up by the hand, and as soon as he lifted her up, the fever was gone. I want you to understand something. We're talking about miracles this morning. The condition she was in before he lifted her up, she wasn't doing anything. She didn't feel like doing anything. I don't think she could do anything. She didn't have the strength to do anything. And the word comes next. It says that, and she ministered unto them. She served them. The same word that's used to talk about deacons, being a servant. She ministered unto them. And then it says in verse 32, and I want you to note this, and at even, when the sun did set. Now, why did it say that? Why was it at evening? Why was it when the sun did set that this happened? Did he wait that long before he healed Simon's brother and all? It's a Sabbath. They just came out of the synagogue earlier that morning. It's the Sabbath day. The Sabbath ends when the sun goes down. And they were waiting for the sun to go down to go see Jesus. I had never seen that before. I think as a whole, in reading over things, you just you see that little notation, and you just kind of skip over it, and you don't really think about, well, why? But that's the why. It's the Sabbath. And they were waiting till the evening in order to go to the house. And at evening, when the sun did get set, they brought unto him all that were diseased, and them that were possessed with devils. In other words, in a general sense, anybody who had anything wrong with them, whether it's a sickness or a possession, they brought to Jesus. They had already seen him cast the unclean spirit out of the demon in the synagogue. They had already knew about this point that Simon's mother's in-law had been healed of the fever that she had. They knew the condition that she was in. And I guarantee you she didn't get there just that day. And they already knew all this. And they are coming with every sort of sickness, disease, crippling, if you will, anything that's causing anybody any problem, and including demon possession. Last Sunday morning, I made mention of this last Sunday night because I thought it was funny. Last Sunday morning when Scott was teaching for you, he made a comment. He said, I think I remember somewhere somebody talking about the demons knew who he was. Just last service or two back or whatever. I said, I think you were thinking about tonight. That's what I talked about last Sunday night, was that demon. Well, guess what? Verse 33. I'm getting ahead of myself, but let me just stop and get to verse 33 anyway. And all the city was gathered together at the door. Not just those that were sick and being cast out. Everybody, the entire city, everybody was where Jesus was. And he healed many that were sick with divers diseases and cast out many devils, and suffered not the devils to speak because they knew him. So I don't know. I guarantee you it didn't look like a Benny Hinn concert. That's probably the right word, concert. But I see Jesus moving through the crowd without anybody telling him what's going on. And I can see him looking at someone and with compassion, seeing their pain, their suffering, and him touching them and telling them either to stand up or to take up your bed and walk or be healed or go show yourself to the priest or all manner of different things. And I can see him walking up to someone who's being possessed and saying, come out of this man and be done. That demon spirit. You remember that last Sunday night he told that one to be quiet. And when I told you, you already know the reason why is because that Jesus has a purpose on earth. But it's not now. 3.5 years down the road, we're going to be crucified and we're going to rise again on the third day. But not now. And he knows that if the demon spirits continuously testify of him being the Son of God and very God himself, there's going to be a problem. And so he tells he doesn't allow the demons to speak. Even though they knew it. They knew who he was. And then we come to verse 35. This is a place I really wanted to get. There's two more points really that I wanted you to see here, but this is one of the places I want to get to. And in the morning, the day has passed, the night has passed, and in the morning, rising up a great while before day. The sun hadn't broke yet. It's still a ways off. And Christ gets up and departed into a solitary place and there prayed. Do you remember when we were in just a little bit further than last Sunday, about 2 Sundays ago, when we were talking about how that he was baptized in the Jordan by John, and then he was driven by the Spirit into the wilderness. And I talk about that wilderness, the word there, talking about being lonesome. The same word that's translated wilderness in verse 12, here in verse 35 is translated solitary. Jesus got alone. Jesus got into a lonesome place where there wasn't anybody. Jesus got far away where he could have some time to pray. I believe that one of the biggest problems that we face in society today is that there is no quietness. There's such constant noise. Many people today even go to bed and sleep with noise going on. They got a radio going, they got a TV on, they got some kind of noise constantly. It don't even have to be playing anything real. It can just be static. There is no quietness. It's when that quiet moment that I recall hearing the words, preach, preach, preach. And we say sometimes, God never speaks to me. You're making too much noise. You just got alone, away from the noise, away from all the confusion and all the goings on, away from all the people wanting him to be healed by him, away from all the sickness and the demons, and away from all the commotion. Got alone. Pray. He doesn't do this just one time. You'll find him throughout the Bible, especially after big moments. The feeding of the 5,000. You'll find them getting alone and pray. I'm reminded just now. Let me just tell you from my experience, and then I'll tell you from Elijah's experience. I am at my weakest moment when I've had my greatest victories. We have had a wonderful service Sunday morning, Sunday night, a wonderful day or whatever. Monday, I am vulnerable. I'm pretty weak Mondays anyway, okay? Just plain and simple. I can use your prayer for Mondays. Got it from. Elijah was the same way. On Mount Carmel, he defeats the prophets of Baal. He slews them all. That's the right way of saying that. Slay them all. He killed them all. They're all dead at the end of it, okay? God, having sent down fire from heaven, when he prayed and having not just consumed the sacrifice, but he consumed the altar and the water and everything, and the dust around it, everything was gone. When Elijah came off that mountain, he breathed for a moment, and he became vulnerable. And a letter came to him from Jezebel saying, I'm going to kill you, and he ran. I think Jesus knows this. Being the Son of God, do you understand? He had just healed an entire town of sicknesses and cast out demons right and left. He's on a spiritual high. And the next morning he goes off and prays. Because his flesh is weak. Verse 36. And Simon and they that were with him followed after him. Simon's boy, okay? Let's put it that way. And when they found him, they said unto him, all men seek for thee. So Simon has, and by the way, not all the 12's there yet. He's called 4 that we know of, and there's other people who have appeared to them. We know actually in the book of John, I believe it is, after he calls Simon and Andrew, he calls Philip and Nathaniel, I believe it is, but Philip and they that Philip and Nathaniel's with him at this point. But not everybody's there. And so they come, the 12 has not been chosen yet, but they have come to look for him. And they said, all men are seeking for you. That's part of the reason why he got away. That's part of the reason why he got away. And then I want you to note something in verse 38. And he said to them, let us go to the next towns, that I may preach there also. For therefore came I forth. Somebody asked you, why did Jesus come? What are you going to say? Well, he came to die and to be crucified and to rise again. That he might save us from our sins, that he might give us eternal life. That's the reason why he came. That's only part of it. The reason why he didn't want to die right here, because right now he could have paid for our sins. He could have done it at birth. You do realize that. He's the Son of God. We could have allowed Herod to found him as a baby and killed him, and he could have rose in. But before all that takes place, he's got to preach. That's the reason why he came. For 3.5 years. Is that he might preach. That he might go out and tell in all the town. That he might, in the process of that preaching, pick out 12 men and teach them in that 3.5 years. So that when the 3.5 years is over and he dies on the cross and he resurrects, that on the day of Pentecost when they receive the Holy Spirit, they might go forth and preach the message that he preached. In verse 39, and he preached in their synagogues throughout all Galilee and cast out devils. There's something about that ending that kind of gets me. The reason why I came forth was to preach. And so he goes around all Galilee into the synagogues and preaches and casts out devils. They know who he is. They know who he is. He can't let them stay in the host bodies. Doesn't say he healed the sick. He cast out devils. Oh, I'm sure he heals some sick too. We'll find some more people he heals as we go through this. But he kept the demons be. They can't stay. They'll do like the other guy did. They'll cry out, "Well, what is God?" I entitled this message, "A Day in the Life." That's, in a sense, what we've seen here. I don't doubt that what you see going from town to town looks a lot like what he did in the town where Simon lived. I don't doubt it at all that it was very much the same, that he would go into a house and he would first preach in the synagogue. And then he would go, and someone in the synagogue would invite him to their house, he would eat, no doubt. Someone would be sick, and he'd heal them, and suddenly everybody come around. I don't doubt that at all. And he'd heal and cast out devils. And then go to the next town. I kind of feel like that's really is what you start seeing this pattern develop for a while. After a while, you find where Christ has done so much that there are people from town to town who are flocking towards him. You'll find them on a hillside preaching instead of in the town. The marvelous thing. Him coming to preach the gospel. That is him. He himself. John prepared the way. John has moved some stones. Christ continues his job. Get a song.